Now yes, there are misogynists and racists out there. That is true, and it's not a bad thing to acknowledge reality. At the same time, some people on the left go overboard with this and create a narrative about how they're oppressed victims and how white people or men are evil. And while that may fulfill short-term psychological needs, this victim mentality isn't actually beneficial for the person in the longer term. Plus it splits society in two. Also, this creates blindness to cases where there is prejudice or discrimination against men or white people. Pointing out that there are cases of prejudice or discrimination against men or white people disrupts the I, as a woman or black person, am oppressed narrative. Therefore anti-male or anti-white prejudice and discrimination is swept under the rug by some left-wingers who claim to be against prejudice and discrimination. A somewhat related example is of a person claiming to have trauma or claiming that they were abused, when in reality they just had an unpleasant experience. Some people make stories up or heavily exaggerate things to get sympathy. Although of course, there are also people out there who genuinely are traumatized and genuinely were abused, and if you have trauma or you were abused then it's completely fine to say that you went through that. And I'm very sorry if you experienced that. Or a left-wing person might feel that their life is meaningless and has no purpose and that they are one of billions of interchangeable, unremarkable people who won't be remembered after death. I'm not saying that a so-called average life is meaningless, but that is what some people feel, deep down. Hence, some people on the left try to address this anxiety by, for example, inventing a new gender for themselves. Perhaps in their mind this makes them no longer yet another interchangeable, unremarkable person. Another left-wing version of fulfill my own needs by creating a narrative for myself is when a left-wing person stands up for a group that is perceived to be oppressed, such as women or black people or trans people. This can lead to situations where a white left-wing person claims to be fighting for black people, and in the process this white left-wing person censors a black person who speaks out against a left-wing narrative. This illustrates that sometimes it's not actually about social justice, it's just about the left-wing person wanting to be a hero in order to meet their own psychological needs. It is interesting to note that people in the past were primarily concerned about material well-being, and back then the left was mostly interested in helping working-class people financially. And now a lot of people are more concerned with psychological pain, and now the left is helping them with that, by giving people a ready-made narrative where they can either label themselves as the oppressed victim or as the hero who stands up against racism. This has led to the observation that the demand for racism has outstripped its supply. Hence we see nowadays that even being opposed to illegal immigration is called racist because left-wing people want there to be evil racists that they can heroically defeat, so that the left-winger meets their own psychological needs. At the same time, of course anti-women sexists and anti-black people racists really do exist. The left isn't just all virtue signaling, or as I prefer to call it, please love me signaling. On the left, there is also genuine compassion and a genuine desire to improve society. Similarly, there genuinely is a hard work and personal responsibility and freedom-minded ethos on the right. The right isn't all just people saying screw you, I got mine. I'm the virtuous hard-working person who deserves success. And if you're struggling, then I don't need to feel sorry for you because you deserve it, you're lazy or you made bad choices. Although that is a part of the right. So as you can see, both the left and the right sometimes try to fulfill their own psychological needs by creating narratives that are pleasing to their ego, but often those narratives aren't fully true. Furthermore, those narratives often make other people feel unsafe and unseen. And people who fully identify with these narratives might seem narcissistic or self-absorbed or callous to people on the other political side. So, what's the solution? Well, the solution is for people to get their needs met without having to engage in coping mechanisms and without having to create these kinds of self-justifying narratives. I know that's easier said than done. Still, you too can be part of the solution just by being kind to other people and by listening to them. That actually matters a great deal, far more than it might seem. So, is humanity inherently evil, or selfish? No. It's just that almost everyone on Earth has several unmet needs. When Earth becomes a place where people get their needs met, Earth humans will also start behaving in dramatically better and more productive ways. Almost no one in our society behaves in a destructive way, and we're humans just as you are. This also means that yelling at people to stop virtue signaling, or stop being selfish, or whatever, probably will not work. I love humans, I love the people of Earth. I feel a deep sense of compassion for the people of Earth, for you, because it must be horrible to live with so many unmet needs for so long. I can't even imagine what that would be like, and my heart goes out to you. But, yes, at the same time it is useful to understand that a whole lot of people are currently trying to cope with their unmet needs in unproductive ways, which also contributes to the huge political divide. The channeler has been disappointed and dismayed at just how many people are acting in selfish ways. Also, it can be pretty disturbing to realize that partly because of unmet needs, most people are acting in a sort of unconscious, robotic, survival mechanism way. For the average person, if TV tells them to believe or do a certain thing, that's what they do. They're almost like a robot that receives input and generates predictable output. And it's sad that many humans have been reduced to this. At the same time, humanity is waking up. And there are also beautiful, amazing, selfless people out there who are doing their own work and helping others. Waves of light are happening all the time, where one person is kind to someone else, and then that person is kinder to the people in their surroundings as a result, and so the wave of light just cascades outwards. What starts as one kind action can eventually touch most of humanity. Which is heartwarming and inspiring and beautiful to see. Or one person heals some deep trauma they have, and in response the entire human collective consciousness is touched. People they've never even met, people on the other side of the globe may feel inspiration and relief and a nudge to go and do their own work. You are rising as one race. You are ascending. I know it's hard. I know it's painful. But Earth humans really are going in a positive direction. And while not guaranteed, it really is likely that this year or the next we will finally be able to physically meet you. And I can't wait, that will be a celebration and a sharing that will reverberate across the galaxy and across the ages. You have all my love and respect. You're doing amazing and you are in my thoughts every single day. Your star sister, Tunia for Era of Light.